What's up, Scorpio? Welcome to your August 2020 Creativity Tarot reading. My name is Kayleigh Jean, and welcome to my channel. I record these readings for artists, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is working on their personal growth, self-expression, or spirituality in any form. So if those areas of life are important for you, I encourage you to go ahead and keep watching. I wanted to also say, as usual, for those who are new here, I do feel that you can use these readings for your sun, moon, or your rising sign. It's also possible that sometimes they don't resonate because they are just general readings. And often what you may find is if you come back to the reading at the end of the month, it could make a lot more sense. So, Scorpio, let's get into your reading. So while I was tuning in for you, I had an image in my mind that was just like almost like a screen, and there was nothing on it. It was just dark, and then something tore down the center, and there was like another layer, and so then that layer tore, and I felt like it almost feels like you're getting some kind of, you're peeling back layers to things in your life right now, and I feel like you are on a path that will, if you continue to follow it and you continue to seek, I feel like you're going to get somewhere really interesting. And I think it's going to be something that you didn't really expect. Like, this feels very much like a discovery energy, like tearing the screen back, and then there's another one, and another one, and another one. And as I'm kind of, just in that sort of channeling space, as you get further and further, I'm seeing almost like a wooden kind of structure, like carpentry, something having to do with carpentry. So again, that is so random and so specific, so specific. So maybe someone out there is getting interested in carpentry. I don't know. It could also be a symbol though, or a metaphor for, when I think of carpentry, I think of the ability to construct things that have a solid foundation and that have true sort of right angles, right? Like a really good carpenter, they can do amazing work. They can do things that you never even imagined were possible. And there's definitely some traditions in carpentry that combine different techniques and strategies so that the work that they eventually come up with doesn't even have nails or doesn't even have anything binding it. It's just the shapes of everything fit together so perfectly like a puzzle, and you get this beautiful artwork that actually has a practical use. So as I'm saying this, I'm wondering for you, Scorpio, if there is some kind of new skill that you're developing in yourself that reminds you of this at all, that has to do with, even just like when I think of carpentry, I think of like when people say like an angle is true, like a true right angle. That is what it really means for a construct or a building to have integrity, right? It's the integrity that is mirrored in the physical reality that is also mirrored as integrity on the spiritual plane and the astral plane where we have our consciousness. This is one thing that I think we tend to forget, because if we are very psychic or if we are very imaginative and creative, the spiritual realm and the astral realm, they have their own inherent laws to them as well. Even though when we experience them, like for example, when we experience an astral dream, like a very powerful dream, there seems to be not that much limitation. We can have a really bizarre dream where crazy things happen that would never happen in our physical life just because it's physically impossible, but there are still overarching kind of laws that are going to be reflected in some ways in the patterning of our dreams or in the patterning of things that we experience when we're doing active imagination, for example, or imaginative visualization. There always is this sort of inherent structure where if you are doing something in your life from a place of integrity, usually your dreams kind of reflect that, right? Or, you know, if you have like a daydream, for example, even a daydream will kind of reflect back to you your relative sound judgment, right? And it happens very, very symbolically. So again, this is a super etheric reading. I hope that this is useful for someone out there, but I really get this sense with like the carpentry, like it's like this wooden image that's coming through after the peeling back of the layers. I feel like you're discovering something that really roots you and grounds you in truth in your life. And this is going to have ramifications that will reverberate throughout all areas of your life. And Scorpio, let me tell you, it will make everything better. Whatever this is, if you are feeling this calling or this draw or this creative, constructive energy, I encourage you to go with it and trust your heart on it, because you are doing something that is practical and useful. And so that's the message. Interesting, we get the Emperor and the Sun when I broke the deck on that. All right, so I'm going to draw your cards. It was a lot of channeled information. Scorpio, Scorpio, Scorpio. Scorpio, Scorpio, Scorpio. Okay. So we have the Dolphin as your path card, and the influence is the Tiger. Wow. So this is really fascinating. Definitely stands out to me very strongly, this Tiger energy. But the path card is really important in this reading because it kind of shows where you're going. So when you have the Dolphin energy as your path, it's like your path is one of a high vibration, Scorpio, and developing and maintaining and nourishing a high vibration in your life is imperative in August. So this is fascinating as well, because one thing that comes through with this is like, I don't know what gives you a lot of joy in your life, Scorpio. I don't know what really like lights you up, but we all have those things, and I think it's important for you to engage in those kinds of activities at this time, particularly for anything, if not just to keep your vibration high on a regular basis. So if it's reading a fiction book, or if it's writing, or if it's going outside or gardening, or if it's painting, or doing makeup, or just whatever silly thing. It can be so silly, playing with your dog or your cat, or, you know, just doing things that continuously lift you up all the time is super important to keep your vibration high, because we have some heavy stuff going on in the world right now, and there's a lot of heavy things coming to the surface, which is affecting the astral plane, in my opinion. And so we have a lot of gunk and things that are being sorted out, things that are being brought to the surface for all of us to face and deal with. And so it's super important right now more than ever that you maintain that sense of joy, because over the days, right, if you are experiencing, if you're getting news barraged at you that is like stressing you out or making you feel sad, or, you know, and you can't even take immediate action on it at that time, or maybe you already have taken whatever actions you can take to improve the situation, then there's no point in just wallowing in that lower vibe, right? You want to definitely kick it up a notch, stay happy, recognize your blessings, be in a state of gratitude, genuine gratitude, and ease. And that's really what we see improving for you this month, is just that sense of like joy and being willing to have fun and keep your vibration high, even though we're experiencing a lot of difficult energies like collectively right now. Now, the Tiger is the influencing card. It's also your lesson. And for me, the Tiger in this deck is all about courage to trust your intuition. because we have the lunar symbol on the tiger, which is a crescent, which tells me that this is a new beginning. And you're going to have to be brave, and you're going to have to trust your intuition, trust your instincts, and recognize, Scorpio, that you're a freaking badass. Scorpios are so freaking powerful, so intuitive, so instinctual. And you know what? Here's the thing. Of all the signs, you have one of the deepest connections to the underworld, which is, you know, and we could call that Hades realm, which a lot of people associate Pluto, which is also Hades, with Scorpio. You have this connection to the dark depths of life. Like, you have this connection, you know what being at the bottom is all about. And I feel like when we see this card coming up, it's like reminding me that you are one of the signs, if not the sign, that has the deepest connection to that place. But you're also, ironically, one of the signs that's most willing to be a fighter and to potentially risk going to that place because you're not afraid of it. So you will fight, Scorpio. Whatever is going on in your life that you care about, whatever causes are important to you, you will fight for it. Even if it's just something, you know, just personal in your own life. Like, I'm not even talking about something in the collective here. I see you being fierce and going for whatever you feel passionate about, whether it's starting a business or, you know, even taking your family in a new direction. For some reason, that's something that just came to me, like taking your family in a new direction that's totally based on intuition. Like, you might be like, we need to move, you know, like, we're moving. And you're just like, everybody else in your family's like, okay, Scorpio. Like, they just know when you get that look and you have that intensity, they're like, okay, like, sounds good. Not saying you're a dictator or anything, but I think there's just something about when a Scorpio is like really in their power and not being tyrannical, but just in their power, and they're like, no, I see this, like, I see what this is. And then people around them are like, you know, really close to them are like, okay, yeah, my Scorpio, like, she's got, or he's got his, you know, they've got their instincts, like, their spidey senses are turned on. So let's pay attention, you know? So I definitely see that. So let's take a look at your cards. So you've got the Star, the Ace of Wands, Strength, wow, Ace of Cups, oh my gosh, Scorpio, Page of Cups, Justice, the Lovers, and the Ten of Swords. Fascinating. So, wow. It's interesting because the first week of August, on August 3rd, we actually have a full moon in Aquarius, which is the Star card is ruled by Aquarius. And this would be symbolically falling in your 4th house of home. So there could be something going on with your home life or with, and I'm just speaking like broadly general terms, in relation to the Scorpio energy, Aquarius is, you know, in a 4th house aspect to it. So there is a sense of like a new beginning potentially in your home or family life. Some of you could, you know, there's an obvious sexual connotation with these cards because here we have this phallic imagery and here we have a naked woman. So there could be, as some of you are trying to conceive, this could be a good sign for you. You could be adding a member of your family, or you could be becoming more aligned with your own sensuality or your sexuality. You could also just be feeling intensely creative within your home environment, because these energies together both speak to kind of being spiritually guided to create something or share something. It's like an inspiration coming through from the Star, which is like cosmic inspiration flowing through, and it's being channeled, like it's being given an outlet with the Ace of Wands, which here could represent a paintbrush or a pen or a camera or, you know, whatever, a social media platform, perhaps, if you are, you know, an online entrepreneur. It could also be something that you're creating and selling on Etsy, for example, or offering new services or leading workshops. But it's like this cosmic divine source energy that's like being stimulated. Like I almost feel her like pouring this into you, Scorpio, like you're there, you're the water, and she's pouring, it's like that spirit pouring some kind of inspiration to you, and you're channeling it with something real, something that's creative, and something that is, you're actually bringing that cosmic energy into the physical, like we talked about before, the relationship between the integrity of the astral and the spiritual planes, and the existence of real laws that govern those planes of existence are also mirrored in the, you know, physical reality, where we have a different set of like the way that these laws tend to manifest, which looks, you know, more like justice, right? So there is something here about you bringing down energies from other dimensions or other planes of existence in a very creative way. Now, the second week of August is really interesting because we've got the Strength card and Ace of Cups. So what I want to say to you here, Scorpio, is be strong in the second week of August and be kind. I feel like there's an opportunity for you to create some kind of powerful change within your own life, but you are going to need to be kind and loving to yourself in the process. And also maybe to others as well. Others of you could surprisingly get a new pet. For example, with the Strength card can represent pets and, you know, specifically cats, but could also represent, you know, any type of pet. And then the Ace of Cups is like that very sweet, cuddly, fresh. It's an ace, so it's a brand new energy. It's like this very sweet new connection. So some of you could be getting a kitten or a dog, or someone could ask you to take care of an animal, and you are able to do that for them in this around the middle of the month. This just looks really sweet though to me, and it's about being patient, Scorpio, being kind, being loving, particularly towards yourself, but also, of course, to the beings and people around you. The third week of August, we have a new moon in Leo, which is actually in your 10th house of career and your public persona. So when you have a new moon in the 10th house, it really points to big changes in how people see you. And this may or may not become like visible at this time in the month because, you know, a new moon happening in your 10th house typically only happens, you know, once a year, basically. So you may feel the effects of this in the coming months afterwards because, you know, sometimes the lunar rhythms take a little bit longer to manifest in this type of a symbolic way, particularly because we're just talking about the general Scorpio energy and the general Scorpio energy's relationship to the Leo energy, which is, you know, not necessarily exactly how it's going to be in your chart. But in general, Scorpios are experiencing a new beginning when it comes to their public persona, their path in the world, their causes and the things they support. Scorpios are experiencing a big change in terms of their sense of willingness to have a position on something as well. So there's the 10th house is about what is seen. It's about what is notified. It's the highest point, if you can envision, and in the horizon. So basically where the ecliptic, which is the path of the sun, the apparent path of the sun across the sky, that is the midheaven, the 10th house cusp, is where if you were standing on any place on earth, if you went directly up to the zenith, the highest point of the celestial sphere above you, it's where those lines intersect. That's what the 10th house is on an astronomical basis, which nobody talks about. I don't hear anybody talking about this in the astrological community, but really what it represents is your spatial relationship to the cosmos in connection with the sun's relationship to the earth. That's essentially what the 10th house cusp is. And what does the sun represent? Cycles. It represents energy, where energy flows from, because all of life on earth is powered essentially by the sun's energy. We are beings of the sun. So the 10th house cusp symbolically, I don't know why I'm going so much into this, but I'm just kind of talking and channeling, but it represents that like symbolical point where the sun's energy comes down onto earth and actually in the process meets with the point that you are at on the earth. So it's like that. And that is the 10th house cusp. So you can envision, like, that's where source, symbolically source is the sun, source meets you where you are in this present moment in time on the planet, and it's how you channel that source. It's how you express yourself in the world. It's how you use the air that you breathe and the energy that you get from the food that you eat. It's how you are channeling that solar frequency. That's symbolical of the 10th house. So for you, having this new moon in Leo in the 10th house, it's bringing up something new. It's something new and passionate for you. And by the way, that new moon in Leo is on the 18th of August. So, and it's symbolical for the entire, all the Scorpio energy. It could fall in different places in your own natal chart, but in relationship to how much energy you have in Scorpio, this is a valid analysis in my opinion. Because if you have a lot of stuff in Scorpio or you have a Scorpio sun, this is going to be probably something that you really feel. So the Page of Cups and the Justice card are coming up for that week. So again, this is about working with the universal laws, which is justice. Also, the law of attraction can be a big factor here with justice. It's like what you put out is what comes back to you. And so if you put out love and curiosity and acceptance and creativity, you're going to get that back. So definitely pursuing a new interest, I see. Now, the interesting thing with the last week of the month, as the sun moves into Virgo, we have for you the Lovers and the Ten of Swords. So this can represent for some of you like releasing something in a relationship. If you're not happy and you are in a relationship, then you may see that relationship, fall away from your life at that point. It could also represent a business partnership that is disintegrating, or it could represent new connections that need to come into your life, and so you have to make space for them by letting go of old connections in your life. Some of you could also be at the end point of a long period of kind of mental suffering is one of the things that I see with the Ten of Swords. It's like the end of the sword suit, and the sword suit is all about, difficulty, and sometimes mental suffering is a big part of that. It's often about how we make things worse for ourselves. I think the best advice I can give you is if you have something unresolved in a relationship in your life with anybody, it doesn't have to just be a romantic relationship. It could also be business or friend or whatever. I do think that it's important for you to find the most authentic and calm and compassionate way to address that situation, preferably before that last week, because I think if you are listening to this and you know that there's something that's unresolved between you and another person, it might be a good idea to address that before, because if you wait, it could end up being a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. So let's take a look at your Bob Ross message. You really can learn to be creative as you paint. It's like anything else. It just takes a little practice. That's beautiful. So one thing that I will say about that is that I think when you have this new moon energy, generally showing up in your 10th house, Leo, your Leo's relationship to Scorpio, it could be about recognizing that it's okay to start something new, even if you don't know that you're going to be good at it, because you can always get better. That's the thing, Scorpio, is talent is great if you have it, but it's definitely not a prerequisite, because effort is way more intrinsically useful than talent. If you have talent, you still have to work at things, right? So I think this is something to remember, that you're not limited by your past. You can always do something different at any given point, Scorpio. Aww. So your Destiny Oracle deck card is the Abundance card. So I love this. I think this is so pretty. And I think these are pink cosmos flowers because I actually have some in my garden, which again points to that cosmic energy of, you know, tuning into larger forces and seeing where you actually can channel energy in a positive way. And obviously this could also relate to like money coming in or other forms of abundance, because we didn't get any pentacles in your reading, which tells me it's typically more of like a spiritually oriented month, or a month more about like seeing where your energy is going and accomplishing goals, or being strategic, or even working on other elements of yourself than financial abundance. But here we see abundance, so it's like abundance is coming to you in many forms, Scorpio. You don't have to worry about the specific form that abundance takes in your life. Just acknowledge it when you see it and try and see it everywhere, because it will magnify and it will reproduce, you know, this like really happy, good abundance energy the more that you just appreciate what you have. So that's your message, Scorpio. I hope this has been helpful. Please let me know in the comments if you want to support my channel. You can give this video a thumbs up. That's always super, super helpful. If you enjoyed the reading, you can leave me a little, maybe like a lion face emoji because you guys got strength. Or you can just leave me a heart or let me know you're still with me. I would absolutely love to know from you guys what you thought of the reading. And yeah, just sending you tons of love. Thank you so much for being here. If you'd like to donate any amount, even $1 is fantastic. I'll put the information below. And all the links to these decks will also be below as well. Big hug to you, Scorpio. Mwah, and I will talk to you next time.